Okay, I know many of us swore off buying new beauty products for the first couple months in 2025, but sometimes one comes on the market that is so good you have to try it. Well, I am here to let you know whether or not you have to buy this product because I got my hands on the new Huda Beauty Easy Bake Blurring Powder. This video is not sponsored. This is my new Friday Face Off for 2025. If you're new here, you'll love this series. I do it every other Friday, but let's get back to what I was saying. Hi, I'm Jody. I am 54 and I love all things beauty. And every other Friday, I do a Friday Face Off where we test two products, side-by-side comparison and a wear test, application test. We look at the price points, all of that to see is one better for your money than the other. Understanding, of course, that everybody's skin type's a little bit different and the way you wear it, what you like, how you like it is gonna also be a little bit different. Today, like I said, we are testing the new Huda Beauty Easy Bake Blurring Powder. And I am testing this one up against one that I know it's tested. It is my holy grail. It is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD, and I absolutely love it. I would put this up against almost any powder that there is. I will be applying both of these powders to my under eye area. And if you're new to makeup, you may say, okay, why do I need powder under my eyes? Well, if you wear concealer underneath this eye area and or a color corrector, or maybe you do both, then you're gonna wanna set that with a really light coating of powder to lock in that concealer. Also, the finish of the powder can be a matte finish or a satin natural finish, and that also gives you an appearance underneath this eye. And then the final reason is sometimes you might want a brightening effect to this under eye area, especially if you find that you are more hollow through here and you're starting to have more shadows fall through here and you want to pull that forward and look a little brighter. Then you might want to look for a powder that has a brightening effect to it if you don't get that in your color corrector. Don't worry, I'm going to walk you through all of it today. As I said, we're going to do a side-by-side comparison, so if you are ready, let's jump right into it. All right, so in terms of this Huda Beauty Easy Bake Blurring Powder, this sells for $39, but it does come in a mini size, which is the size that I have. This comes in 10 shades, so there is a shade for different skin tones, although many of the shades offer coverage for light, medium, tan skin tones. And then it just becomes a matter of what you want to hide or what you want to bring forward. Do you want something that's going to cover dark circles, or do you want a color that is going to bring some brightness to that area? That's going to be an individual decision. The Oob birthday cake is that lavender color that you've probably seen on social media, and it was sold out. I went to 4 different Sephoras here in the Seattle market, could not get my hands on it. So I looked through the different names of each of the colors to find the one that was going to work best for me. Now, the one I wanted was Sugar Cookie, and it is for fair to tan skin tones, neutrals, undertones for an ultra brightening effect. That's really what I wanted. I don't like to add different colors. I don't need it, so I stay away from some of these that have like a tint to the color. This one is Banana Bread, I think it's called. It was only like, there's only 4 left, so I thought, well, let's just try it. I'm less concerned about the color that it's gonna leave. I'm more concerned with, is it going to make my under eye area look more creased than it did before I applied the powder? Because if that's the case, I don't need it. I got one, but I love this one. Okay, so we're going with Banana Bread. And this one, as I said, is light, medium, and tan skin tones. It has golden undertones to brighten and disguise under eye darkness. I do have some of that. As I'm getting older, I am getting a little sunken in here. So it would not hurt to brighten up that area a little bit, but I never want to add enough powder for the powder to have a brightening effect. That's just, as we age, powder on the face is usually not a good idea. So let's talk about and this one is cruelty free. So I do want to mention that. This one Makeup Forever is vegan. It comes in 3 shades, and this is a light translucent powder. When I say light, I mean it is light. Now you might be saying, Jody, okay, now I know why I want to use powder on my concealer, but isn't there a difference between loose powder and pressed powder? And it really does depend on who you ask. Powder is powder. It depends on I would look for what you want to get out of the powder. So, and the first thing you want to look for is a finely milled powder, because once you get this on a brush, it sits on a brush very much like a loose powder does. So is there different schools of thought for that? There are. I haven't been convinced one way or the other that one works better than the other. So for me, I look for the powder formula that I want. And by formula, I mean, is it finely milled? Does it absorb into my makeup, or does it leave a cast or a shadow? That's what I look at more than the formula being powdered or pressed. Powdered or pressed. Yes, that was what I meant to say. All right, so in terms of price, this one is $38 and the Huda Beauty is $39. As I said, they both come in a mini size, so if you're not sure you want to commit to a big size, there's a mini available. All right, let's talk about what these both say that they do. Both of these powders say that they have a blurring effect that is long lasting. So, I mean, that's really all we want a powder to do, that and lock in our concealer. Before you apply a powder to your under eye area or anywhere in your face, if you've applied a foundation and or a concealer and or a color corrector, you just want to go in lightly and tap around that area to ensure that that concealer is pressed down into your fine lines and wrinkles. Because whatever your eyes look like before you apply your powder, that is what they are going to look like after you apply your powder. So if you've got some creasing going on already, you don't want to, it's sort of like if you have a stain on your shirt, you don't want to put that sucker in the dryer because it's going to lock that stain in. Same thing applies. Just make sure that you have this under eye area looking the way you want it looking. And that is pretty much what I want it to look like. I mean, I'd like it to look 20 years younger, but... All right, so to apply my pressed powder or loose powder, I am just going to go in with a larger tapered brush. I like a fluffy tapered brush when it comes to applying powder in this delicate eye area because I want to control how much powder is on my brush. Because like I said, I really just want a very thin veil, and you probably do too if you don't want your powder to look heavy or dry or cakey under your eyes. This is the way to go. Light fluffy brush. I am going to start with the Huda Beauty Banana Bread. I mean, the names of each of her powders were cute, I guess. I should have opened this beforehand, but I just didn't want to have anything that wasn't authentic. I should mention, if you are new, my Friday Face-Offs are never sponsored. I don't do sponsored products for Friday Face-Off. I don't do a lot of sponsored products anyway. I don't know. I just like to be able to give you my opinion and not worry about what I'm getting paid to say. This just has a little tab. Jody, would this be easier if you didn't have nails? Yes, yes it would. Wait for it. Okay, nope. Okay. Little tiny plastic cover over all those holes, which I can appreciate. Now, it does come with this very cute little puff powder in the lid. So the lid is flat, and then you just lift this up and you've got an instant little handle. I'm not gonna use that. I just don't really like to put on my powder that way. And then you just close it. Is that right? Yeah. And shake it, because I do want to get some powder out. I just don't want to put it on. That just seems like a lot of powder. It's almost like a stamp. Yeah. If you can see it, that's too much powder. So I'm going to just take my fluffy brush. I'm going to go into the top, tap it off, make sure all my wrinkles are taken care of. I'm just going to leave that little dot there because it's a trend. Why not? And you're just going to very lightly pat that powder. Now, I think what we're seeing on social media is a lot of younger girls are using this to bake with. I wish I'd have known that baking was a thing when I had the under eye area to bake, but now I don't. So I don't bake. And baking is just a process of applying a lot of powder, letting it bake on top of your skin and on top of your foundation or your concealer, whatever you have there. And then you wait about 5 to 10 minutes and you just lightly brush it off. It is a very flawless matte finish, gorgeous, but it has the potential to be rather unflattering on more mature skin because you just get that really dry, cakey look under your eyes. On first glance, I do like the mattifying effect of this powder. I do think that it looks really natural, and I don't even mind this banana bread. I don't feel like it looks golden yellow at all on my skin. I think it looks really pretty. And as I'm smiling, I don't feel like my wrinkles are accentuated at all. All right, so now over to the Makeup Forever side. And this one is translucent. So I do expect, well, I know what to expect this one because I use it all the time, but it will also have a bit of a brightening effect, but it's gonna give me more of a blurring effect, which is great for me. So I just, again, tap as much off as you can. And then I like to hold the brush a little bit farther back for a light hand and then just lightly tap that up where I want it. And then I usually just go and make sure that nothing else is blurry. My forehead gets a little blurry, sides of my nose, that thing. Okay. That is what they both look like upon application. Really easy. And what I think is interesting is because this is translucent and this is more, they call it banana bread, so it does a little, it's a little, I don't know, beige-ish, I guess. I don't see a difference in the way a color versus a non-colored powder looks on my eyes, and I have the light, the ring light right in front of the camera, so you should be able to tell if this one has a different shadow or shade to it, and I don't get that effect. I feel like you can still see that star though. So that is what we have going on. I am gonna powder the rest of my face because it looks a little orange peely. Now you could also, now that you have this powder on, you could set these with a little bit of a setting spray. Another quick tip when you're applying under eye powders is you can spray your brush with a setting spray. I like to use that e.l.f. Power Grip setting spray, but I didn't do that today because I don't want to enhance or jeopardize the results that we get. So you will see what you will get if you use these powders independent of anything else. But to take your under eye makeup game to the next level, I would again use a setting spray on this brush, get it a little damp, really light on your powders, and then very lightly tap it in. If you apply too much setting spray or too much powder, your brush can get cakey before you even, cakey is probably the wrong word. You know, if you have flour and you add a little bit of milk to it, you know, that gets just clumpy. That's a, look at me, I'm all about analogies today. So you don't want that. You don't want any clumps on your brush. So real light mist of setting spray. It just allows the powder to grab a little bit more, but it doesn't moisten the powder enough to turn it into a clump. There you go. But if you don't want to do that, don't worry about it. You absolutely don't have to. Both of these say that they're long wearing. So I love the way both of them look. Now this eye, I do have a patch of dry skin right there. That is always there, and makeup just gravitates to it. So I'm not going to knock the Makeup Forever powder there because it's not its fault. It was there before we applied makeup. It's there when I don't have any makeup on at all. So that is what we've got, you guys. So I do want to wear these for about 4 hours and come and do a check-in with you guys because I want to see if over time, yeah, they look great upon application, but do they crease as the day wears on? That's going to be an important tip for us to know. So no creasing upon application. All right, so let's see what we got going on today. All right, yeah. I cheated, and by that I mean I did a sneak peek at about the 2.5 hour mark and wasn't thrilled with what I was seeing, and so here we are. Let me just get my hair out of the way so that we can really, I don't want to have the destruction hid in the shadows. Let's just full on light. Okay, there's a piece of glitter that I have right underneath my eye right here, and I'm not sure where it came from. All right, you guys, so here's my final thoughts on this. If you already have a really good pressed powder or loose powder that you use to set your under eye area and you are happy with it and thrilled with it, then stick with it. But if you would give it a B and you want to give it an A, then I would recommend that you go with this Makeup Forever Ultra High Def, because you can see that after having this for 4 hours, it is still flawless looking. It's not cakey looking. It is not creased any more than my creases that are naturally there. But my concealer is where my concealer was 4 hours ago. And for me, that is a really big deal. It is still semi-matte. It's probably not as matte as it was when we first started, but I'm okay with that because I don't want my whole makeup application to be matte. I just don't want to have excessive oil in my T-zone shining through. So I like this under eye area to be semi-matte, and it did wear to a semi-matte finish. The Huda Beauty side is Huda took back over her makeup company. Was it this time last year? Was it been almost a full year? Where she got back involved because she felt like she was too far removed from product development and the marketing side of things. I think we're seeing her Midas touch come back in the marketing side of things. Thus the reason we're seeing this powder all over social media. I don't know that I see the hype of it. And I say that for two reasons. One is my concealer has definitely worn off more on this side than it has on this side. The other thing that I noticed, and I hope it picks up in camera, but you can really see the settling in this eye, and it just feels like it, that clumpiness that I was talking about, the interaction between the product and the powder, I just feel like this side looks more uneven. The texture doesn't look nearly as good. It's not smooth at all in comparison to what it looked like when I started, and definitely not in comparison to what this eye looks like. So do I think the names, you know, sugar cookie, cupcake, all that are cute? Yeah, but at 54, I don't need a cute makeup gimmicky product. I need a product that does what it says it's gonna do, especially for $40. And in this case, I don't think that powder, it's an easy bake, like an easy bake oven. It's meant for somebody much younger. That's my final thoughts on that. So if you have a product that you like in terms of a powder, but you don't love it, then I definitely would highly recommend the Ultra HD. I was first introduced to this one about a year ago from a makeup artist, and I wear this one, and it came about because when I do the TV shows, the lighting is very bright, and she's like, you really want a high def, ultra high def powder that doesn't give you flashback, because that's really important. You've seen pictures where stars and celebrities have their photo taken and there's just a cast of white powder. She said you don't want that, but you do want one that gives a little bit of a blurring effect, because cameras are more in high def now than ever before, and now we're into 4K. So I was absolutely interested in trying that, and so that's where this first came from. And I started wearing it just for TV. Now I wear it every day, whether I'm filming or not filming. And I love my final makeup look with it. So I'll link it down below if you're looking for a nice pressed powder. But if you have a good powder that you love, then stick with it. What you'd get extra from this is probably a long last and a blurring effect. Those are the two things that this does really well. So if that's something you're interested in or not, totally up to you. All right, you guys, so the first Friday face-off of this year, there is not a tie. There is a clear winner and a clear loser, and Makeup Forever for the win. That does it for me today, you guys. Let me know if you like these Friday face-offs, because they're every other week and I love bringing them to you. If there's a couple products you'd like to see go head to head, leave those for me in the comments as well. That does it for me, and I will see you in just a couple days. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.